Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group. On March 18th, started the week with a really solid day. I caught a big short on DERM, but before I get into the trade that worked out for me today on this DERM, I will go over that short with you. The lesson I want to talk to you the most about this video is to wait for setups. Do not chase opening bell momentum. I teach all of our TTG members to be patient off the opening bell. There's no rush for you to enter a trade within the first seconds or a couple minutes of the day. Wait for patterns, wait for setups where you can clearly identify your risk and you can clearly identify areas that you can comfortably add to your position. When you're one or two candles into the day, very difficult for you to set your stop loss, very difficult for you to comfortably add to a position. Unless you're a micro scalper, which means like you want to get in and out within 30 seconds to a minute, okay, I don't recommend anybody trades off the opening bell. I don't teach any of our members to trade off the opening bell. It's kind of one of my rules. Okay, it's like part of my style is to not chase opening bell momentum, wait for setups. Okay, well, I broke that rule today. Very uncharacteristic of me. I went after this short on DERM way too early. Within the first minute and a half in the day, because I was chasing early momentum to the downside, okay? And I got squeezed out of that position, had to take a loss, regroup, and then I waited. I saw a pattern, saw a setup, re-entered the trade, added once, added twice, and caught a home run short that well then covered the loss on that initial short. But the point is, I broke my rules and I took a loss. I waited for a setup, I waited for a pattern, and I was able to nail the entry, was able to clearly identify my risk, I was able to add to the position with comfort, and then I got a really, really nice trade. So, breaking my own rules today cost me. Okay, it cost me early on, and I immediately put myself in a hole. Within the first 10 minutes of the day, I'm in the hole. And I had to pull myself out of it. Luckily, I was able to pull myself out of it by going after this trade again. But this is just this DERM, my two trades in DERM today is a perfect example of why I teach all our members to not chase opening bell momentum and wait for setups. Okay, let's get to the daily chart first on DERM. Okay, DERM had this big gap up here today that's on news. And what I was looking for was this area. Okay, I'm looking for this area to hold as resistance on the gap up, because I said this is a huge gap up from $7 all the way. We were gapping just below this area, and I said I'm looking for that area to hold as resistance, okay, and then push the stock down lower. 1380 was the area that I said I wanted to see hold resistance off the opening bell. My game plan here was to see 1380 hold, pull back down to 13. Okay, show me resistance is there at 1380, and then I can get short and try to fill this gap to the downside. And my profit target, okay, was going to be right here, this previous little pivot high. That was my pre-market game plan on DERM. I talked about it before the open with all our members. I went over my game plan. This is what I'm looking for to have happen. Great. Let's go to the intraday chart, okay? As we got to zoom this in all the way to that opening bell candle right here, you can see we opened up and immediately put in a high of the day of 1377. Okay, we opened at 1336, immediately touched 1377, and within seconds, we were back down to 13. I got excited because I saw that 1380 was the exact price point that I was looking for resistance to hold. So when we went from 1377, flushed down to 13, I got excited. And I jumped the gun too early. I actually was chasing momentum to the downside, and I entered the trade short. Okay, I'll take it to my trade announcements on the day. Here you guys can see at 9:31. If you follow my YouTube channel, if you go back and you watch all my videos, you will probably never see a video with a trade alert at 9:31. Maybe there's one other. You just won't see it because I don't do it. Okay, it's something that I teach all our members to stay away from. I broke my rules. I entered at 9:31, short at 13:33. Stop loss was 1385 area, and you can see 6 minutes later, I had to cover that position at 14 because it just ripped right back through that high, and I got stopped out on this big, strong green candle that took us back up through highs. So I got caught chasing momentum to the downside on the opening bell candle, Exactly what I teach our members not to do, and it cost me, and I paid for the mistake. Okay, that's the first trade I want to point out to you on DERM. The next trade, okay, I stuck with it and I went after this trade again. And the reason why I went after this trade again was because I was able to identify a pattern. Okay, I'm going to take you to a 5-minute chart. Okay, and when I take you to a 5-minute chart, you can start to see this ascending triangle pattern with a double top at the high of the day. So here's your double top resistance at the high. You can see this uptrend support line creating an ascending triangle pattern. When a stock breaks down out of that trend line, that's your trigger on the trade. The stock should not get back up to test the high of the day and should eventually just kind of roll itself over. That's how ascending triangles work. Okay, let's go back to a 3-minute. I want to take you to a 5-minute because it's easier to see. Okay, so here's that pattern. You see a little bit less clear on a 3-minute, much more clear on a 5-minute. So I went ahead, gang, and I entered this trade short a tier 1 position right here in front of 15. In front of that double top high that we just talked about was my tier 1 entry, and I added tier 2 as we broke down, out, and below, okay, this trend line that you see right here. So there's the tier 1, there's the tier 2. I'll take you to my trade announcements. Okay, here you guys can see at 10:09, short tier 1, 1461, stop loss, that 15 high of the day area. Okay, and I had a typo here, so I'm going to add through 1345. Then I had to issue a correction that I'm adding through 1385 area. Okay, so right down below that trend, that uptrend line is where I'm adding to the position because of that ascending triangle breakdown pattern. Okay, you can see there we go, we got it, and there's that break. So I waited for now to find a pattern. Now I have a pattern where I can say, okay, here's my stop loss. I understand my risk. Here's an area that I can add to the position comfortably. Okay, because there's a pattern, there's a setup here. I'm not chasing momentum. And now this allows me to sit in this trade with much larger size than I did the first time. But even though I have more size this time, I'm a lot more comfortable in the trade because I can clearly identify my risk. Okay, it's much more clear to me now. That's why we wait for setups. Okay, now as I pan this over, okay, you guys can see we started to hold support here around this 1350 area. Just draw a line right across this 1350 area. You can see we were consolidating, trading sideways, consolidating. I actually added to the position again around 1350, okay, to get up into a full max tier 3 position size. Actually, was right here was when I added to the tier 3 position size. Once I saw 14 was holding, I thought we were going to roll right there. VWAP starts to act as a little bit of resistance, and then we finally break and then roll it over. Okay, I'll take you to my trade back to my trade announcements. I had to break it up into 2 different screenshots, guys. Some of the other moderators were pretty active in chat today as well. So here you guys can see at 11:04, took some profit off at 1350. Took more profit, covered DERM at 1316. You can see how I'm scaling out of this position here, guys, as it starts to work in my favor once we broke down below this 1350 area. Okay, you can see as we start to get this extension move. Okay, so 1202 is right here. And I'm going to circle these take profits for you. 1228 at 1248 is right here. And then the final take profit right at my initial target that we went over pre-market of 1180 right there. Okay, so you guys can see the difference between this trade and my very first trade on the day. And we go back to the daily chart. You guys can see this is that line. Okay, that was my initial target on the trade pre-market, and once that target was actually hit intraday, I took the final piece off the table for a nice big trade all the way down 1180 from an initial 1461 entry on that short down at 1180, and the stock is currently just kind of trading sideways. We're about to enter power hour, and we're just kind of still trading sideways. If this thing can't get back up above 1250, you may see new lows this afternoon. But I've got nothing left. Got no piece of this position left. But the point of this video, guys, is not even so much about this ascending triangle and about, you know, the second short. The real point of this video that I want you to take away from it is really patience. Okay, wait for setups, wait for patterns. Do not get caught up in the opening bell chaos. Do not get caught up in opening bell momentum. A lot of traders, they see a stock gapping up, they see one quick little green candle, they all jump in, they chase the momentum because they think it's going to explode, and it just whiplashes right back down on their face because there's no pattern, there's no levels that you can trade off of. You're just dealing with the rush of all the opening orders to start the day, and it's very difficult for you to get a true sense of if a stock is truly strong or truly weak in the first couple minutes of the day. Give stocks time. Okay, it's a long day. The market's open until 4 p.m. Eastern. You don't need to place your trade at 9:31 Eastern to get involved and catch opportunity. Wait for setups. I'll see you guys. Oh, tomorrow's TGG Tuesday. Forgot to mention. Guys, tomorrow's TGG Tuesday. I open the chat room up free for everybody every Tuesday. Go to TrueTradingGroup.com. Upper right-hand corner, you'll see a link that says TGG Tuesday. Click register. You will get a link that will give you access to the TTG chat for free tomorrow. I hope to see you guys in chat. Take care.